I'm very deeply touched and very deeply moved. My brother and I had quite a tumultuous relationship over the years, and I know that some of you did as well, but in the end, it was a good relationship, and Dave is a good person. And we're here today to celebrate Dave and remember Dave. And I want to start by saying welcome to the family and friends. And I'm going to say a few words, and then I'm going to give the opportunity for some of the individuals that contacted me and said that they'd like to say a few words. And then I'm going to come back in and do a closing. And if at any time you can't hear me, just raise your hand up, okay? Because sometimes we do this like that and then you can't hear, okay? Thank you. We are here today to celebrate, to remember, and to mourn, and to do so individually and as members of one or more communities that include Dave. We are members of communities of family and friends. These communities include friends of friends, and friends of family, and friends of friends of friends, and friends of friends of family. Dave had a way of building community. Each of you is here today because of the communities, the friendships, and the connections that Dave built. These communities include Dave, as in the present tense and not in the past tense, because Dave will live on in our hearts and in our minds and in many ways of which we will not be cognizant. We will not be conscious of the way that Dave continues to touch our lives, but he will be there. How many of you knew Dave personally? How many of you did not know Dave personally? Say, even those of you that didn't know Dave personally, you've been touched by his life because you're here. And that's the way, the beauty of life. We touch people, and then they touch other people, and we live on through those people. And that's the theme of what I want to talk about today in relation to Dave. I'll come back to discuss our connections and the influencing effects that Dave had on others and that we all have on others. Often memorials speak to what a person did for a living, their hobbies, their family and friends, and what they enjoyed doing during their lives. You already know much of these things about Dave. I encourage you to watch the photo presentations to see glimpses of Dave and his friends and family, his artwork, and other memories of Dave. In contrast to this typical memorial focus, I would like to present how I see Dave as having influenced my life and how he will continue to influence and impact you and me. Before I close, I will discuss how each of us impacts and influences others. As members of the communities that we build, we each have responsibilities to influence others in a positive manner, because only you can have the impact that you can have, just as Dave was the only person who could have the impact that he has had and continues to have in our lives. We are each unique, and we are each set in time and location such that our opportunities are unique. We impact and shape others and partially influence who the other person becomes. Just as Dave has influenced us, we influence others, and those individuals influence others. In this process, we live on long after our passing. Dave lives on in and through us. Let us reflect today that we may learn from Dave about building friendships, about how to build community, and about how to overcome challenges and trials within our lives. Let us pay tribute to Dave by reflecting so that we may incorporate into our lives respect and tolerance, so that we may be accepting of individuals even while we may not be accepting of individual behaviors. Dave had so many friends because Dave saw the person more than he saw the person's inabilities. Dave saw the person more than he saw the person's limitations. Dave saw the person more than he saw the person's shortcomings. Dave accepted the person even though he often did not like or accept certain things that the person did or said, or the way the person may have acted at times. To be accepted as a friend by Dave meant that you would be forgiven. To be Dave's friend meant that you would be a friend even after you screwed up. How do we learn from Dave in this regard? Dave touched many people. As I think about the future, it will not be a future without Dave, but a future without Dave's physical presence. Dave has become a part of me, and he has become a part of you. We are each comprised of billions and billions of influences that shape and have shaped us to who we are and to who we are becoming. Dave was and is one of those influencers. You are an influencer as well. Influencers are people and maybe events, places, happenings, opportunities, or lack thereof. They include community, nature, and all of its beauty. Included maybe education or lack thereof, maybe trials and tribulations, maybe sickness and death, maybe birth and life and happy times and sad times. Some of the things that influence us are unknown to us. Some things influence us significantly after the fact. We are shaped by the good and the bad. The biggest influencers in our lives are other people. Dave brought to my life many happy times and many sad times. From the camping trips to traveling across country in the station wagon, to family gatherings and family interactions, to Dave helping me and to me helping Dave. The time spent with Dave and the interactions with Dave have shaped my life and will be a part of my life for the rest of my life. And just as Dave has touched, influenced, and impacted my life, he has also impacted your life and will continue to do so. Whether you know it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, Dave, just like everyone else you have met, has influenced and shaped your life, and this will continue into the future. Dave was a unique person. Dave was a beautiful person. Please don't think that I'm oblivious to all of the negative aspects of Dave. I am not. And as a tribute to Dave, I choose to learn about acceptance of the individual despite their shortcomings. Just as Dave was so very unique, each of us are totally unique. You are one of a kind and you are beautiful. If I were to go around the room right now and ask for a show of hands of the individuals who think they are unique and beautiful, some of you may not raise your hand. Before you leave here today, I want you each to know that just as Dave was beautiful and unique and was one of a kind and worthy to be accepted as human being, you are too. For without acceptance of the individual, there can be no love for that individual. Only through acceptance is the door of love opened into our relationships. Within love, we can accept the individual even while we reject the behaviors that are not acceptable. However, without acceptance of the individual as a human being worthy of acceptance and love, the individual is cast out along with the unacceptable behaviors that we do not like. Dave was loved as a friend by so many because Dave understood acceptance. Dave understood love. There will never be another Dave, and there will never be another you. Just as identical twins do not grow up to become the same person, no one will ever grow to be the same as Dave or to be the same as you. Each of the billions and billions of interactions that influence and influencers that come into our lives at the particular time and place that they enter our lives shapes and determines who we are and who we become. Getting to know my brother has helped to teach me tolerance and to accept and to love the individual. For we are each worthy to be accepted and to be loved because we are. Would it not be better to first accept others so that the barriers came down, so that one could truly get to know the person? For to do otherwise closes the door to the opportunity to have the impact on that individual that only you can have. Dave built communities that included friends and family and friends of friends and friends of family. Dave has been a friend to many. Over this past week, I have heard from many of Dave's friends and members of Dave's extended family. I had a few long conversations on the phone, conversations that included crying and tears on both sides of the phone. The pain and hurt are real. The sadness is real. The loss of Dave's physical presence is real. Dave, however, will not be lost to us, for Dave will live on through us as he has influenced us and therefore has become a part of our lives. At this time, I would like to ask friends and family of Dave to say a few words in memory of Dave. Would you like to start, Deb?
For those of you that I haven't met, I'm Deb Walker. I'm Dave's sister. I really appreciate you all coming today. It really means a lot to the Holland family and to Jackie, Dave's girlfriend. Those of you who knew Dave well know that he had a caring heart and would do anything to help his friends in need. Dave truly was a kind soul with good intentions. He had a strong Christian faith, and he knew the Bible very well, and he knew Bible history very well. He loved nature and being outdoors, fishing and hunting. He was a good mechanic. He restored a Willys. That was his pride and joy. He was really good at woodworking. He made some beautiful wooden jewelry boxes for his nieces. He was really good at bending neon. That was one of his things that he really liked to do when he was out in California. Dave was a talented artist. As you can see by the pictures, he was really good at drawing things. He would put it on a projector and draw from another picture. The picture right there is one that he made from a Christmas card that we sent a few years ago. And he made that. Took about 3 years for him to finish it, but once he did, we hung it on our wall, and he was very proud of it, and we were very proud to display it. Dave loved music. His favorite bands were the Grateful Dead and Government Mule. I don't know what Government Mule is, but I'm sure some of you do. When Dave was in jail, he couldn't buy cards. You know, they cost a lot of money when you're in there. So he would make cards for me, and they were very detailed and they were beautiful. I've saved every one of them. He just really is a really good artist. As you know, most of you know, Dave struggled with alcohol and drug addictions all his life. From adolescence onward, he was continually in trouble with the law. I truly believe that if he didn't get involved with drugs and alcohol, he wouldn't have spent the majority of his adult life behind bars. I had a very uplifting conversation with Dave the afternoon before he died. He told me how excited he was to finally be totally free. He had gotten his full driver's license back about 30 years after losing it. He was finally off probation. He was excited to be able to go places on his own without relying on others and without the anxiety and apprehension that he always had when he went out in public. He was just so happy to be rebuilding his relationship with Dan. I could feel the excitement in his voice, and I was so happy for him. That is why I just can't comprehend how a half a day later he had passed away. It breaks my heart to think of the future he could have had if he had the inner strength to stay away from alcohol and drugs and the temptations to use them. Even though unintentional, the combination can be deadly. I believe that Dave is finally at peace with all his struggles in the arms of Jesus. I'd like to share some poems that I believe say it better than I can. He is gone. Excuse me. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back. Or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what he would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. Sleep, my brother. I wish you sweet sleep, my brother dear. Although there's so much that you've left bare, I want to know what crossed your mind. Unspoken words you've left behind. Undone things we'll never do. No sharing thoughts you never knew. A peace has fallen upon your head, a taste of sorrow we have been fed. It really is like a hole in our lives, one swiftly dug but carved out by knives. But I have hope that those sleeping will rise. The Bible says that God will open their eyes. No suffering, sickness, yes, not even pain. Those who believed, eternal life they'll gain. So sleep on, my brother, sleep tight. For now with you the sky is night. But after night will come daybreak. Therefore I will wait, hoping to see you awake. One last one. Brother, you gave no one a last farewell, nor ever said goodbye. You were gone before we knew it, and only God knows why. 1,000,000 times we'll miss you, 1,000,000 times we'll cry. If love alone could have saved you, you never would have died. In life, we loved you dearly. In death, we love you still. In our hearts, you hold a place no one else can fill. It broke our hearts to lose you, but you didn't go alone. For part of us went with you the day God took you home. We'll meet again someday. I know it will be in a better place. I thank God he made you our brother while you were here on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Jackie, would you like to say a few words? No? Okay. John, would you like to come up?
Yes. My name's John Gomez. Met Dave Holland, summer of 1977. Curtis McEwen introduced me to Dave. Did a lot of fun things together. I mean, Dave turned me on to Bob Seeger in the basement of his mother's house over on Willer Street. They used to have a cat named Purr, big old fat cat. Dave used to always like outdoors. He used to always invite me to come up to Pentwater for the summer. Man, Dave used to carry a pocket knife. And when we used to hang out at Garfield Park at the picnic tables, he would carve his initials, DH, and he would carve it so deep where ours would probably fade away within a couple of years. That DH would stay there for years and years. His dad used to stay over on Greg Street. Growing up, we used to sneak in the basement, get some of that homemade wine, some of that PBR.
Red, white, and blue.
To this day, I won't drink PBR. Raft race. Just all go down to the raft race every summer. Me, Curtis, Dave, a few other friends of ours, hang out. We didn't get into trouble, you know. We kept everything in check. Dave was an honest, good person. Really loved him. I mean, man. You know, one time we were riding in Curtis's pickup truck. We got pulled over on the west side twice in a half hour because the truck was so rusty and worn out that they gave us a report and repair. But we didn't have anything on us, you know. We were kids, you know. We're just out having fun. You know, I reconnected with Dave after 25 years, about 3 years ago, at the park where we first met, Garfield Park, with Curtis. Him and Curtis were inseparable, and played a round of disc golf and played another round. And for the past 3 years, I've been in contact with Dave, and I didn't really know he was into art like he was. Went up to his studio, and he had some nice work there, and I really, really admired what he was doing. Dave's always been a kind person. I mean, he knew a lot of people, When his mom moved over on Leonard behind Friendly Owl, we used to ride our bikes all the way over there, me and Curtis, just to hang out with Dave and do things that kids do. You know, we didn't get into trouble. We didn't vandalize anything like that. We were just out having fun, listening to a lot of music together. We'd go to concerts, sneak into shows, stuff like that. But I'm going to miss Dave. You know, it's a shock that he passed. But I've had a lot of good times hanging out with Dave coming up as a kid. And from going to Funway Freeway, playing foosball, all those good things, you know. Man, listening to music. But man, I'm going to miss Dave, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to speak amongst you people. And I think Curtis McEwen is probably one of his closest and dearest friends that's sitting here in the audience. And but we hold a lot of good ties together, all of us three, us trio. Likewise with Derek and his sister Carmen. Yeah, we all came up together. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Where's Tammy? Tammy, would you like to come up? Are you?
Dave and I have been friends for over 30 years. I have so many good memories of Dave and all the times we spent together. He introduced me a lot of friends that I still have today. He went to my Lamaze class with me when David's dad never did. So for that, I named my son after David. He taught David so much. He was a great uncle to him and a lot of other people. Dave and I were very close. He always had treats for my dogs, which my dogs will totally miss him. They still stay at the door and cry, wondering where he is. I'll never forget him. He was a part of my family, and he will always be will be. I will love and miss him always.
Thank you, Tammy. I also received a phone call or a text from Greg DeSatterly. He indicated he would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank
Dave and I, we met in 8th grade. I was 14 years old, and so was he. And we went to the same school. He lived about 100 yards away from me. And like John had mentioned about his cat Purr, my cat used to sit on his front porch. Dave would call me up. He'd say, "Man, come get your cat out of here. You're scared Purr. He's not coming outside, you know." And I'll never forget, I was in his house, you know, and I was kind of playing with the cat. And he said, "Don't do that. The cat will, you know, go on the carpet all over." And I didn't listen. And all of a sudden the next day, he's like, "Greg, I told you," he said, the cat had like 3 or 4, you know, droppings on the carpet. "I told you," you know. And I was like, "Sorry, Dave. I didn't know better, you know." But I had so many good memories with Dave. We went inside the Statue of Liberty together. We were in Florida together. I saw him out west. There's so many nights where we had so much fun, where the next day our jaw would hurt from laughing all night long. And you know life's good when you wake up the next morning and your jaw hurts from laughing, you know. Like Dan had said, you know, no one's perfect in life, you know. I make many mistakes, and I always will. And, you know, like you had said very nicely and thoughtfully and appropriately, you know, sometimes decisions in life aren't our best. But, like you had said, Dave is honest and a good person. He had a lot of kind people. I met you, John, and you, Curtis, at Dave's house on Davis. And when you left on your bike, you had a flag on your back. Do you remember that or not? And you guys had to ride all the way back from Leonard and Alpine over to the southeast side. But I don't want to take up all day. I just, Dave is a very kind person. He called me about a week before he passed and offered me a queen-size bed. He offered me some food. I had a job about 3 years ago, and I was in between places to live, and he put me up and let me stay there, you know, free. And times I went over there, I was struggling financially. He gave me like a 10-ride bus pass, and very, very kind, you know. And, it was very touching to hear that he had just gotten his license back, because I was aware the last time he drove, and it had been a long time, and he had been through a lot, you know, and he was doing the best that he could, you know. And sometimes the Lord takes those, you know, you would think, you know, sooner than it is, you know, but there's always a purpose in life, and it is a celebration of life. And we have so much love in this world. Love is just everywhere, and we are a community of one, as Dan stated, and I'll miss Dave, but I believe he's here in spirit, you know, and I could be wrong. I'm not delusional, but I thought, you know, I could feel his presence right in the room here. Maybe he's here going, "Right on, bro." And if you're out of line, Dave would look at you and say, "Yow, dude." And I love someone who's direct and to the point, you know, but good man, he'll be missed, and he touched many people's lives in many different ways, and some of the best memories and funnest times of my whole life were spent with Dave, and he'll always be in my heart and in my soul.
Thank you, Greg. Is there anybody else that would like to make comments? Okay. Oh.
How you doing? I'm Stephanie, by the way.
Nice, Stephanie. I'm Dan.
Damn. Okay. This is very nervous. Well, everyone, my name is Stephanie, for you guys that don't know me. Aunt Jackie and Dave, I grew up knowing them as Aunt Jackie and Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave was one of my dad's best friends. They would come up a lot. We had so much memories, like everybody says. We've shared so much times, good times. So I wrote a little something for him. And I just wanted to say that we are gathered here to say our goodbyes to our loved one. And Aunt Jackie has asked if anyone would like to say anything for Uncle Dave. So, I grew up knowing Dave as my uncle, and Dave will be loved and missed and always be in our hearts. It's a tragic that Dave had to go too soon. It really is, because he was a great man. He was more than a great man. He was sunny and he was joyful. I call him my hippie uncle because, if you were having a bad day, he turned it into a good day. Now, I'll never forget the memories we shared with Dave and will forever hold in our hearts. One of Uncle Dave's favorite bands was Grateful Dead. I do have a quote from them that I would like to share with everyone for Uncle Dave. Every day, I am thankful for the nights that have turned into mornings, friends that have turned into family, dreams that have turned into reality, and like that has turned into love. Uncle Dave, rest in peace, because one day I'll see you again, and we all love you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Much thanks to each of you for expressing your thoughts. Other friends have shared comments on social media. He will be missed by many. A lot of us loved him. Dave was a great guy, and I have many great memories. He will be greatly missed and always loved. Dave was one amazing guy and will be missed every day. My prayers will be with Dave's family and friends, for this is a hard time. He was always the one to make you laugh, but if you need a great friend, he was the one to listen. Love you, Dave. My kids looked at Dave as their uncle. No words can describe the feelings of the loss of a family member and a great friend. May you hold on to all the memories and the beautiful person Dave was, that he had a great heart. Dave was like a brother to me. He will be missed dearly. Dave will be dearly missed. He was loved by many. We miss him more than words can say. He was family to us as well. Dave will be missed by many. He was a very nice man and a friend to everyone. These are just a few of the comments that people left on social media. As we think about how to celebrate and how to remember Dave, let us remember how Dave had a way of touching people. Dave was more inclusive than exclusive. Dave had a way of making friends, and once a friend, Dave had a way of remembering you. He could remember where and when you met and what you did together and who was there with you at that time. Writing this eulogy was difficult for me, and I shed many tears in the process. As brothers, Dave and I were pretty close, although not in the same way that he was close with his friends. The biggest similarities between the relationship that Dave and I had compared to the relationship between Dave and his friends was one of forgiveness and reconciliation. That was common. Notice that I did not say acceptance of or ignoring the negative. The emphasis here is on the acceptance of the individual, the love of the individual. For without acceptance and love, we cannot truly hope to help others to grow and to become the fulfillment of their beingness. Dave has helped me on my path, and I hope that he has helped you on yours, and that he will be helping you on your path in the future. For we each need others in our lives to effectuate change in a positive direction in us, and to help us toward becoming that which we could not otherwise become. I would like to share a quote from a well-known author and orator, a man by the name of Robert Greene Ingersoll. "The time to be happy is now. The place to be happy is here. And the way to be happy is to make others so." Dave had a way of making others happy. Reconciling the unknowns of death and dying within faith or lack thereof can be significantly more difficult at these times of loss of a friend or a family member. If you are struggling with Dave's death or with other things in your life and would like someone to talk to, please seek me out. I am happy to spend time with you and to help you work through the complicated emotions and the difficult thought processes. And if I'm not able to help as needed, I am happy to work with you to help you find someone that can be of assistance to you. I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.